Welcome everyone to another section of 305, the sports show. I'm Raul Pagan here with my colleague Nick Dupont. We don't have Anthony Aguirre because he's an important mission, and at the same time, Colia Sabler. We know this was gonna be happening since what I'm saying. We got 2 to 3 jobs at the same time, and I'm sorry for all of you that we haven't been reporting for the last weeks. Like I
The
say,
past few
we're
weeks, we've
busy.
been we've been off for the past few weeks. Sorry about that, guys.
We've been busy, but at the same time, like we try to make this show as entertaining, as fun, at the same time, different perspective as possible, with new ideas, and at the same time, we got possibly a new sponsor coming along the way, which we're actually grateful for, and
Very
we're
grateful for.
happy and looking forward to it. That will be the beginning of 2026. But for us to be busy is because we got a lot going on in the TV, radio, and sports industry. So for me and Nick to have a spot doing the show today is a miracle.
It is a miracle, It's been like we said, it's been a week since we've recorded, so finally, it feels good to get back on the mic and on the camera.
Yes, sir. So production has us a couple of interesting headlines. So we got
Let's see what Anthony set up us for today. Let's see what he did
Yeah,
for us
so
today.
Anthony has us. Who's been the most surprising team in the season in the NBA? We got also the most disappointing season, the most disappointing team in the season this far, and then we got Lane Kiffin did the right move in leaving Ole Miss to join the LSU. We're about to find out between me and Nick, and then analysis on the college football playoff bracket at the moment, ESPN wise, if the season ended today. So I
No, it's
know
not. It's
Knicks.
not
I know
ending. It's not ending.
that's what I'm saying. So we gotta wait for this weekend, a couple of conference championship games, and then that's where the committee will determine where the rankings are. Who's gonna be the top four? Already having a bias week, clinching the
Well, with
quarterfinal,
Miami, it's always
quarterfinals.
biased, but we'll get into it. I'm not trying to
No, what I'm
start
trying to what
arguing and yelling yet right now. Don't
no,
worry.
what I'm trying to say is that the new expansion, the top four teams are gonna be in the quarterfinals in different bowl games. They don't have to participate in the first round.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna see teams that end up between the fifth and the 12th spot. Who are the ones that are gonna have a playoff clinch spot and be which team they're going to be facing on. So we'll have a lot to talk about that. Let's start off with the NBA, which actually, Nick, right now I got a lot to say. I'm going to give you the floor is yours because I'm excited because
Well,
the Miami Heat right now one of the best offensive teams. They've regressed a little bit defensively because they're the most fastest paced team in the league. Defensive rating, they're actually still top six, but like points allowed and other categories, yeah, they are not performing at the level that we've seen for decades, generations since Eric Spoelstra took over the team, even when Pat Riley was a coach and others that have been a part of that organization. But offensively, we have never seen this
no,
from a Heat team
this is an
ever.
unprecedented type of offense and defense that we've seen from the Miami Heat. I've said it since day one with the team. The culture, just in the entire building, kind of changed when Jimmy Butler left. We had that lost moment where we knew we were done. We knew we were dead in the water last year when Jimmy left. The team was completely unorganized, but right now they look really good, man. And a little birdie right now told me that Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo is requesting to be traded out of Milwaukee at the moment. So maybe the Miami Heat at the trade deadline could make a move for Giannis. We'll see. They are definitely one of the most surprising teams in the NBA, and if not, probably it exceeded everybody's expectations from what they were supposed to be this year.
All right, so we also have a colleague here named Anthony Aguirre that said that Norman Powell was not a big thing. That was
Well,
not a
to be
big
fair,
deal.
I was one of those people too that hopped on that train, but I was also scarred from the
I
demon
was the
himself,
one.
Terry Rozier. So
I was the one that said, "Believe in Pat. In the Godfather we trust," and everybody laughed at me. Everybody started.
I did a little bit.
All right, no, I mean, you actually didn't laugh at me. You were just disagreeing with me
Listen,
a
I hold
little
myself
bit.
accountable. I hold myself accountable for the things I said about Pat. Okay, I'm sorry, Pat. I still love you. I will always love you. I love the Miami Heat
I mean,
forever.
what Pat Riley was trying to do is not jeopardize the future of this team. Because
I mean,
let's just say, if he traded a possibly six man of the year, Jaime Jaquez, if he traded Nikola Jovic, which still needs to produce a little bit more after the contract that he received, and then a couple of other assets, and maybe a first round pick. That was actually the offer that Pat Riley did to the Phoenix Suns to get Kevin Durant. What if all of a sudden Miami is not having the best start of the season and Durant is all of a sudden requesting a trade, either this season or the next season? We were about to jeopardize the future of this team.
yeah.
You guys gotta understand
Well, I didn't want KD.
what I mean. I wanted KD,
I didn't want KD.
but not for the risk that we were about to do. And
But
so
that's why I
why
didn't want KD because we would have
that's
had to
why
give up a lot of
I
assets.
remember that you and me were celebrating the Florida Panthers back-to-back championship, and we got the news at that moment
Yeah.
during the evening.
KD
And
to
I
the
said,
Rockets.
and I said, all right, so Kevin Durant is not going to Miami. A lot of people are gonna criticize Pat Riley because he didn't get Damian Lillard. He didn't get, let's say, Donovan Mitchell, who's actually in the mixture. He didn't get Bradley Beal. Thank God for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
brother.
that was.
Thank God for
Thankfully, we
that.
missed on that. Thank God we did not get him. For
And
years, we were talking about getting him, and we did not. Thank
and there
God.
were a lot of people in the mixture as well, like a couple of stars or superstars. We didn't get Kevin Durant. So I'm like, I'ma still trust in what the best executive president to ever lived in NBA history to do what is right for this team. And everybody laughed at me. Everybody criticized me. And right now, he's the one laughing at everybody. He just got Norman Powell that just proved that last season was not a fluke. And when I looked at Norman Powell's stats, he's averaged through all his career double-digit points. One of his best seasons was in the end of his career with Toronto.
Yeah.
Then he joined the Clippers. He had his best season. We all
And now
agree.
he's exceeding those expectations with what he had with the Clippers. You know, everyone thought like coming to Miami, he'd be like, oh, maybe he'd be an All-Star level player, 21 points per game. Bro, he's putting up Wade and LeBron numbers in his first starts, and it's insane. Like for his first stretch as a Miami Heat player, when you put up Wade and LeBron numbers, you're gonna shake the NBA, not just your local, not just the town.
Facts.
You're shaking the NBA. And everyone's going to look at him and be like, whoa, where is this guy coming from? I mean, we know where he came from. We played with Harden and Kawhi, but what is this offense that Miami's doing?
Oh, let's just say that he maintained the Clippers' balance with Kawhi
100%.
out,
And
with
we're
Kawhi
witnessing that
out
right now.
until Kawhi Leonard returned. That's why I say that he should have been an All-Star. But obviously, since James Harden had more rebounds, more assists, that's why he got selected to the event. But I still say, like, man, Norman Powell deserved that All-Star selection for the first time in his career. He's definitely going to get it this season if he doesn't get injured. Because you already know the new CBA, NBPA, NBA agreement.
No, I don't know about it.
The NBA and NBPA agreement with the new CBA, collective bargaining agreement. It's all about the players that are going to be selected to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, which obviously who coach is going to be out. I mean, the only exception was Greg Popovich, obviously, because
Yeah.
he had that health situation. And let's just say clutch player of the year
Well, in
and
that
other
scenario, it's
other
hypothetical
categories,
coaches.
depending on the games that they're playing, is a limit to it. So if they don't overpass the games they got to be participating in, they cannot be included in some of the NBA categories, like prize categories,
Of course.
and at the same time, all-star selection. So Hero this season is not going to be an all-star because he
Well,
hasn't.
we don't know that.
No, because
Because that's the rule.
that's the
officially
new
the rule.
rule. That's the new
Okay.
agreement that they got into it. Players either to win MVP, Most Improved Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the list goes on. Minimum 65 games. Hero missed the first 17 games.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So
I mean,
and
but he could still. I mean, regardless of being an all-star or not and having that title, he could still play at the all-star caliber level, and he's been playing at
exactly.
that
No,
level.
I agree with that. Right
Yeah.
now, Norman Powell and Bam Adebayo, they both can be all stars.
Of course, yeah.
I've told you, and I told Anthony, I told Kolia, Bam Adebayo, he's the captain, he's the leader. He's got to produce both ways, like he's done in his whole career. But right now, that Jimmy Butler is not stealing his spotlight, because that's what he was actually doing. Because everybody was relying on Jimmy Butler. Right now, Bam is proving why he's a two-time gold medalist, why he should have at least one Defensive Player of the Year. We're not going to get into the NBA deciding on the players that get nominated for different categories and who wins and who doesn't. But in Defensive Player of the Year, it also, apart from steals and blocks, efficiency, rating has also been included.
Yeah.
So how the hell, and I'm saying it that way, Adebayo did not win Defensive Player of the Year last year or the year before?
I mean, at this point,
or the year before. And what he's doing right now, when he's facing every single all-star opponent, he's literally causing problems towards them.
But I guess the NBA just measures that a different way than what we can assume that it already is. You know,
And
Bam
we've seen-
Adebayo, we already know that he's a top 5 defender, top 3 defender in the league, and he can be every single year when he wants to be or when he's healthy enough to
He's
be.
in the paint. He's outside of the paint. He's in the perimeter. He's in the mid-range. He's out of the
Miami
three-point line.
fans have always given Bam a really hard time for the amount of offense that he put for his offensive game,
because he's
especially
doing too much defensively. I got you.
And it makes up for it, you know. But I very quickly though, I want to go a little off track from the Miami Heat. Another really surprising team for me this season, and it's gonna be funny because you're gonna laugh when I say it, but the Toronto Raptors have actually been a very surprising team this season, in my opinion.
I'm actually not gonna disagree with you. Sorry for our production. They're trying to put the image right now for the Raptors. Brandon Ingram right over there making a layup against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Like
I mean, they're a surprising team, but I'm not gonna disagree with you after you finish your take. They're not the most surprising team.
Well, I mean, I'm biased.
Kolia has it. Kolia also. No, Kolia
Toronto.
actually texted me. He said Toronto is the most surprising team in the league.
Well, there you go, Kolia. I'm saying that I don't want to say that Toronto's the most surprising team. I think Miami still is, regardless of my bias. But Toronto has really exceeded expectations. And then outside of them, Detroit even. Cade Cunningham has been on a different level this season, you know. And then look at Scotty Barnes going back to Toronto for a second. Toronto, they're finding the pieces and they're putting it together. I just don't know if it's gonna I don't know how well it's gonna do in the playoffs if they make the playoffs at that point. Yeah, you have RJ averaging 19 a game. You have Scotty averaging 20 a game. Scotty's their main facilitator. Honestly, he does everything for that team: rebounding, assists, steals, everything. But I just don't believe in Brandon Ingram and a depth of Grady Dick, Jacoby Walker, and when you have OJ Abaji, you know, it doesn't really fit. And then you have Jakob Poeltl for example, as your starting center. I don't trust Iñak at all throughout the entire season. I think once the playoffs comes
You
around,
don't
they're going to really
trust
struggle.
you don't trust him when he played with San Antonio under Greg Popovich?
Well, that's a different story. I mean, look at how was San Antonio doing at the time? Let's start with that. How was San Antonio doing at the time when Jakob Poeltl was their starting center?
Because I mean they were not doing that bad. They were
But that's what
just
I'm saying.
they were a reconstruction team.
Jakob Poeltl is not a terrible center, in my opinion. He's a good center, but he's not a true playoff starting center. He's, Isaiah Hartenstein. People like look at him and be like, "Oh, he's a good center. He's not great though." He's taller than Yak. He can
I
get
agree.
more
Yeah,
rebounds than Yak, but he was also on a better surrounding team. I just don't know if
he can
Yak really.
produce. Yeah,
Yeah,
like he
it's
can
just not a
produce
lot though.
water.
It's not enough from what the team needs. He's only played 16 games to start. He's played 16 games in the season so far. He's only averaging 10 points per game and 8 rebounds. I do think he needs to put up a little more production. But I
I
think they
feel
can get better at the center. I really think they can get better
I
at the center
feel
depth.
I feel like he regressed a little bit because this is the reason why I don't agree that Toronto's been a surprising team. I had them entering the play-in because I wanted to see at the beginning of the season what we're gonna be basically evaluating from this trio: Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see like what we can see, and if Brandon Ingram can stay healthy. And I said Toronto is actually a sleeper in the East, especially when Indiana. We'll talk about them in the next topic because we have another topic for this. Boston, they're actually balanced and two big wins from them against Cleveland and New York.
Yep.
But those are two teams that made the playoffs without entering the play-in. And then you got a team like Philadelphia, which I actually also had them outside of the play-in. Right now, they're in a good situation. I mean, decent situation. Joel
Philly's on cruise
Embiid's
control for the play-in. That's what they're doing right now.
Joel Embiid's health
Yep.
questionable always. He's missed more games than played. Paul George is back, but then at the same time, is he gonna be an X factor with them?
Paul George has been way past his prime for being an X factor at this to be considered an X factor at this
But
point.
at the same, all right, Nick. But at the same time, you got Tyrese Maxey, face of the franchise. I've said it for the past 2 years. He's the face over Joel Embiid. VJ Edgecombe, that's an interesting duo. You got Jeremy McCain. You got Jeremy McCain back on the court. So Philadelphia can do special things with those three young players. But then we're having doubts about Joel Embiid, Paul George. So how far can they really go?
I mean, this is the first time in I think about 12 years that Joel Embiid's been able to go on cruise control where he hasn't had to be the main contributor of the team. So I do believe that Embiid is a little more relaxed when playing.
Let's
But
say
he has not looked right. He's only played 7 games in the season. He has not looked right at all in those 7 games. Maxey has been the clear cut X factor. He's looking like modern day Allen Iverson, if I may say it myself. But I don't know how it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna last, man. I don't trust it at all with Philly. Something's gonna break down with them.
All right. So, and who's coaching them? Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is actually a good coach that brought Toronto their first championship in his first year. So I wouldn't put him in the hot seat. I would feel like it's mostly about Daryl Morey and what he's trying to build mixed feelings with this team. Because right now, I feel like they got to get rid of Paul George or Joel Embiid. Yeah, I'm saying it. They got to get rid of one of those two.
I mean, Paul George, it's understandable, but Joel Embiid is a wow, actually.
Joel Embiid is not wild because is he reliable, bro? Is he reliable?
I mean, no, he's not. But no one's going to touch him, man.
When the playoff comes, can he reach to the finals? And I'm not talking about talent-wise. I'm not talking about him like
I know what you're talking about.
Producing.
And he hasn't
can
made it.
He last onto the finals?
No.
They haven't gone to the Western. They haven't gone to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001, when Allen Iverson literally brought that team towards there.
Yeah. And then the closest thing since, if I'm not mistaken, was that Toronto Raptors series against Nick
Against Vince
Nurse.
Carter. When
No,
Toronto
no,
actually
no. I'm talking about more recently. I'm talking about 2020, the year that. Sorry, wait, yeah, 20, no,
2019,
2019. I'm talking about
when
that year.
Kawhi Leonard made that miracle shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
talking
was
about.
actually that season that I would thought they would win their first chip
Well, that's what
in a
I'm saying.
while.
That team looked really good, man. They looked really good. And Nick Nurse and Kawhi Leonard with the crazy shot. I mean, I don't see Embiid going far at all. I don't see this team going far at all.
So that's what I'm saying. Do they have to start
But
making a
no one's gonna
change?
tap in for Embiid. That's the problem. Why would anyone tap in on trading for Embiid right
That's
now?
true. That's true. That's a
Like
fact.
it's just a waste of cap space at this point. Like maybe the Brooklyn Nets, if they just wanted to get a big name in their franchise and tank, and then maybe you get another young guy so you can have Embiid groom him. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Like no one would trade for Joel Embiid right now.
All right. So I agree that Toronto, compared to other teams, have surpassed expectations because they're number 2 in the East. But I gotta go with Miami.
That's fine.
And the reason why I'm going with Miami is because they started the season without Tyler Hero. It's a new chemistry. It's a new dynamic. Spoelstra has been named head coach of USA.
I mean, to
So
be
you know,
fair, I said I
you
didn't
know,
say Toronto was the most surprising. I was gonna say Miami at first. You said I said it. I was gonna
all
say
right.
I was gonna say Toronto for
All
Kolia.
right. So we're agreeing with Miami. Collier said Toronto, and that's not a bad pick. I understand Toronto because I had them at least entering the play-in. Right now, they're number 2 in the East, and that trio, like that's actually the first big three they've ever had. And then you got Emmanuel Quickly. You got, I mean, Jacob Porto is still like a center that can produce you in certain ways. They got Grady Dick, who actually has to contribute a little bit more. Like
He just
every
needs to be more
single year,
consistent.
he has more expectations, and he has to live up to that.
Yeah.
Like Grady Dick has to
He needs to.
start
The dick needs to rise,
start getting
man.
to work. He needs to start getting to work. So right now, Darko Rajakovic, he could be a candidate for Coach of the Year. I got JB Bickerstaff right now, but it's a mixture between him, Rajakovic. Those are the 2 best Eastern coaches.
Yeah.
I got in the West Mark Dano because look at Oklahoma. Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
they might win it again. They're probably gonna win it
They're
again
going
this
to
year.
win it again. And right now, they can actually surpass the Warriors' record in 2016 and win the chip.
And the scariest part about it is that they may have 3 first-round picks this year, and 2 of them might be in the lottery.
And they got so many future first rounders and second rounders that we were not going to get into this topic and we're not going to elaborate that much. But Giannis has requested a trade. Oklahoma, Golden State, New York, those are actually like the biggest marketing teams that can acquire him. A lot of people have been talking about his destinations prefer are New York and Miami. But right now, what Miami is doing, like, don't change the rhythm. Don't change the chemistry that they have right now, the dynamic. And same time, Kasparas Jagashunas, he was supposed to be a good backup. We're not going to talk about what he did in the last game against against the team that
Oh my God,
we
I'm
witnessed.
blanking out. I'm blanking out too. Wait, who did we play? We
The
literally
Clippers,
went to work. Oh, the Clippers. Yeah,
the
there.
Clippers, the Clippers. We saw Chris Paul's last 3-point shot made
Saw his
against
last game ever for the
Miami.
Clippers. Saw his last
Yeah,
game ever for the Clippers the other night. And
yeah.
then that's the most
So
disappointing team. That's
yeah,
one of the next most
I
disappointing.
got those stuff because Miami right now, what we're seeing offensively, this is actually has been the best offensive team in franchise history. Compared to
Yeah.
Wade, LeBron, and Bosh, compared to Shaq and Wade,
Outside of
compared to
having
the early
like
90s. Like
superstars,
right now they got the 6th best offensive point scored record in league history. And what they actually could continue to surpass in the efficiency and the percentage shooting and the 3-point, which a couple of games they actually had the worst percentage shooting. but then they bounce back. They've recovered, and they complement each other. And then you see Norman Powell proving that last season was not a fluke with the Clippers. You got Tyler Hero that he never left, apparently. He never left. And Bam Adebayo has something to prove because he's a two-time All-Star, two-time gold medal winner with USA. At the same time,
Something I never understood. Why wasn't
and
that
he's the
Heat
captain.
fans
He's
were
the
why
captain.
wasn't the Heat fans were so low on Hero coming back? I mean, I to an extent I understand maybe with the injury, but with his production and the way this offense flows, it's meant for him. I feel
When
like, you
when
know.
when when all-star players or any value veteran players come back to a team that is doing good, a lot of people are gonna get nervous that that can change the dynamic.
Of
So I
course,
understand.
I understand
So I
that,
understand
but
that.
Tyler Hero his
But
entire
but
career, regardless
but
of having
Tyler
an
Hero,
ego, he's been a team
yeah,
player.
yeah, he's definitely a team player. And when Spoelstra tells him, "All right, you're not having a good offensive night, you gotta start distributing the ball," he does that job,
We see it
and
from
then
him.
everybody takes care of the rest of it.
Yep.
So that's why Eric Spoelstra is the highest paid coach in NBA history, in North American sports history, because he has that type of adjustments. He got those type of ways to resolve certain problems offensively. Maybe not in the last past years, but I actually don't blame him. Why the team has been one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Like at the same time, when are we gonna hold those type of players accountable for the way they're shooting, for the way they're not taking better shots, for the way they're not
But what
playing
players are you referring
fluently,
to? Are you
playing
referring to star
fluently?
players or role players?
I'm talking about the whole team.
You're talking about the whole team.
I'm talking about the whole team when 2023 we went to the finals being ranked last offensively.
Well,
We
listen,
were
man.
dead last.
In the past
We
few
were dead
years,
last, and then the playoffs came, playing came, and we made it to the finals. Eric Spoelstra.
uh, I don't know.
2024. 2024. We weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. And this guy makes certain adjustments, and we lose the first round. I get it. We don't have Jimmy Butler. And then last season, why do we have to win the first two playing games? Why do we have to win it?
It was
Because he wants to prove that no matter what, this team under him is going to surpass expectations. And that's why he's considered one of the best coaches in the league. And that's why I hate it when people underestimate Pat Riley with the decision moves that he makes, and Spoelstra that he should take his spot and not being a coach no more. Like, I hate when people commentate that, because they're literally underestimating everything that they built and done with that Heat culture throughout decades. The floor is yours.
Well, listen, man. I think you put it all. I think you put it all out there for the Miami Heat. You know, there honestly isn't much else to be said. They're one of the best teams in the NBA right now, and they're going to keep shocking people, and they're going to keep making history. You know, again, I cannot reiterate, and I sound like a broken record when I say it, but I can't get enough of this free flow offense, bro. The fact that anybody's shooting at any time and the amount of trust that everybody has in each other to do their part and they can all succeed at different levels. Like Davion Mitchell, this is the best we've seen Davion Mitchell in his entire career. Even last year, with the short span with the Miami Heat, we could tell that something in his head clicked. And Simone Fontecchio, for example, Fontecchio has been incredible for us. And even back then, I knew that he was going to be a nice shooter at least in the league. I didn't know he was going to be to this. The Heat, if they make a really big move, or even then, I don't know how it's going to hold up in the playoffs for their offense right now. I know Rick Carlisle last year had an amazing offense with the Indiana Pacers, and it was about this pace. Sorry, yeah, the pacing of his offense was about the same as this. But if Giannis is on the table, man, I think the Heat should make a trade for Giannis if they could. You know, I think now would be the time to pull a trigger. if about any time. I think they have as much value as any teams. They still have a first round pick. They still have Tyler Hero. They have Jaime Jaquez. They have Nikola Jovic. I don't think we should trade Jaime Jaquez. I think he's very useful to our offense. But if Tyler Hero and Nikola Jovic and a couple first round picks, if they're available to give them to Milwaukee, if they're interested in that, I would take that deal in a heartbeat. I've been high on Giannis coming to Miami for years now, and he would put us at that championship ceiling. And even now, we look like we're a championship contender, but he would put us at a different level.
I just feel like with the chemistry that the team has right now, I mean, where does Giannis fit in this offensive role?
Of course, but that's where that comes into play because the chemistry doesn't really align with him. He's not really happy. He just wants to go somewhere else, find his joy. The
Yeah,
joy bringer. The joy
yeah,
bringer is what Van calls himself.
yeah.
So who knows? Who knows, man? But I really like the Heat right now. I'm just nervous for the playoffs and for the size of the team, honestly, in the playoffs because
You know why I'm not nervous for the playoffs? Because, yeah, we did lose to Detroit last weekend. We made that comeback that we fell short. A couple of plays that could have determined a different scenario, different result of the game. But that's what I like. The Heat, they don't surrender. They fight all the way to the end, no matter their final result. And that's a different team that we've seen for the first time. I'm going to say, even when we made the finals in 2020, 2023, this is a team that offensively is very fluent. Defensively, they've regressed, let's just say, a little bit in net rating. They're still actually one of the top teams in the league. I'm talking about more points allowed. Points allowed because they're playing a different pace, the fastest pace in the league. Let's just say that. And we just beat the slowest pace team in
yeah.
the NBA. But I feel like healthy, this team is perfect right now. But what they have, obviously, that nobody's gonna believe that they can make it to the finals because they don't have that superstar caliber player
But they
like
forget that
Giannis,
we
like
have the
Giannis.
experience, that we
But
have the finals
we've had
experience.
the experience. We've surpassed expectations. You tell me in 2020 that he were supposed to go to the finals against the Lakers? I'm sorry. There's no way. Milwaukee was favorite. Boston was favorite. 2023, we were entering the play-in.
Mhm.
We almost lost against Chicago. We were humiliated by Atlanta. We almost lost against Chicago until Max Strus started like sicking threes. Jimmy
Get
Butler,
his revenge game.
Adebayo had their moments. We finished in the A spot, and all of a sudden, first round against Milwaukee. We already know what happened there. Jimmy Butler went off most of
Well,
the games of the series. Then we play against the best defensive team. We didn't average the most points because we can match with them defensively as well.
yeah.
Because either they were a better defender than us, or we can actually play superior to that level. And that's what we did. And then third round, we're up 3-0. We almost made history in a bad way, which I was very nervous, which I know that you were witnessing that in the Kaseya Center.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
there before working inside the organization. We won, but we were still not the favorites against Denver because we didn't have the size, and Tyler Hero and Oladipo were out. That's why people got to recognize what Miami has gone through
Yeah.
without having that team that you can say they're the favorites. Were
Well,
they the
well,
favorites in 2020? Were they the favorites in 2023? And right now, what we're seeing this season, beginning, before I give you the last word, did we see them being a contender team? No. If I'm not mistaken, in this sports show, none of you guys gave them high expectations of being contenders. I didn't give them expectations to be contenders. I just said that they're going to have a bounce back season. They're going to be better. But right now,
yeah.
they're doing so much bigger than what all of us, either in a positive or negative way, expected.
Well, as much as I love talking about the Heat, I do think due to time restrictions, we should move on to college football because I do love talking about the Heat.
Before
But
before that, before that, Anthony is in my ear right now. We got to talk about the most disappointing team, though.
I thought we already did that. Didn't we talk about the Clippers? Aren't the Clippers just the worst? Is
I
it really
mean,
much?
is
Come on,
that
bro.
your take?
No,
I got.
I'm gonna say the Clippers. Sorry, Kolia. The Clippers are the most disappointing team, and they're the most disappointing team in my bracket because I had them doing really relatively well this year, regardless of their age. I actually thought the age would play a nice factor to it. You know, everyone plays nice, fast-paced basketball. I thought the slow-paced basketball would help them out. It did not. No one's good on that team. They need to blow it up. They are awful. It was so depressing watching Chris Paul's farewell tour end with him getting cut from his team. Most likely he's going to sign somewhere else.
That's a topic we
But
gotta talk about once he signs with another. Well, he's not gonna
wow.
sign. He's not gonna sign because he's gonna be a free agent. I mean, they gotta trade him because he's under
But
contract.
they're a dumpster
They
fire
gotta
right
wait.
now.
They
I'm
gotta wait
sorry.
until December 15th to trade him.
That's fine, but regardless, the Clippers are a dumpster fire. Tyronn Lue hasn't even spoken to Chris Paul in the past few weeks. That team is awful. They are awful. John Collins is whatever. Zubac is their best center on the team. He's actually pretty good. Kawhi is just so whatever. The entire team. That's the way I describe it. They're just whatever. They're so bad. They're so disappointing, in my opinion. They're the most disappointing team in the NBA. Because
All right.
I could say Indiana, but you don't have Tyrese Halliburton, and then you also got rid of Miles Turner. He just left to go to
Is
Milwaukee.
that
So
so?
you can't.
Wait a
I
minute.
can't
Wait a
say
minute. Wait a
Indiana.
minute. Wait
I
a minute.
can't
Wait a
say
minute.
Indiana.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right. So you're gonna tell me two players make a big difference of them being mediocre.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Tyrese Halliburton was that good. Look at him in the final.
And
Look at him in the
so
playoffs, man.
Pascal Siakam, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Andrew Nemar, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell, a great
Yeah, but
coach
that's
like
just a bunch
Rick
of
Carlisle,
names. That's just a bunch of
like you
names,
telling me
dude.
that they didn't have big moments in the playoffs apart from Halliburton delivering clutch moments.
Okay, whoop-de-doo. It
They're not
happened
gonna.
in the playoffs, but they sometimes don't have bounce back seasons. Look at a bunch of Heat players that go off to other
I'm
teams.
not talking about them having bounce back seasons. I'm talking about how is it possible? All right, so let me give you a good comparison. So Boston traded Drew Holiday.
Okay.
I need producers to put us both. Take the Clipper image. So we got Drew Holiday traded to Portland again by a different team. We've got Kristaps Porzingis joined Atlanta. Atlanta made a lot of noise during the offseason. Orlando made a lot of noise. Detroit, New York. That's why those teams are expected to end up in the between the first and sixth position, avoiding the play-in, just securing a playoff spot. Miami, Toronto actually has filled that void, apparently, and that's why those are the two most surprising teams. We all picked Miami. Kolia picked Toronto. We still need an answer by Anthony. But then in the eastern side, you telling me that Boston just beat the Knicks, just beat the Cavaliers. They traded their two key pieces for them winning the 2024 championship. Tatum is not playing the whole season. When you see the Boston roster, have you seen the talent that they have?
Well,
It's not equal. It's not equal as the rest. I'm not talking about like the teams that are in the first six positions. I'm talking about like 10 teams that are in the East. And right now they're 12-9. They're the best defensive team, and that's because Joe Mazzulla basically had that Ime Udoka type of game plan. He learned from it, and that's why no matter who's in the roster, they're always gonna play elite defense. Offensively, they're 20 in points scored, and they're 12-9. 12-9. After Jaylen Brown, who's their second best scorer? It's Peyton Pritchard. Sixth man of the year. But Peyton Pritchard is not a player that you see like, oh, he's gonna be. I mean, he can't. I'm sorry if I'm underestimating him. He can be actually an all-star player, but you don't visualize him as being an all-star player. Then you got Derek White. So compare the talent that Boston has and Milwaukee, even without Giannis, Indiana, even without Tyrese Halliburton. You telling me that Boston should be at top of both those teams?
Well, no, but the thing is, it's just better coaching at that point. Boston just has better coaching. Rick Carlisle, yeah, he's a good coach, but I just also feel like they don't necessarily have the pieces that they need. Again, Tyrese Halliburton, losing him is huge for that team
Wait,
because
you don't say Pacers have the better pieces than Boston?
I think Boston has better pieces.
Okay. Brown, Hauser is actually disappointing. This was his moment to shine. He's only averaging 6 points per game.
Okay,
only 6 points per game. Nemi Asquera. Okay, sure. Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard. Who else?
I'd rather have Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Jaylen Brown than Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nemhard, and TJ McConnell right now. I'm sorry. And it's clearly showing on paper and in the
Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, Obi Toppin.
You're telling me right now that Jaylen Brown, who's averaging 29 points a game, is less valuable than Pascal Siakam?
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay, but that's the other thing.
But you're asking a player to carry a team.
Okay, but the
team
has been working.
Indiana has pieces. Pascal Siakam has backup. Siakam has backup. Come on, man.
What backup does he have? Jay Huff?
What?
Who's his backup?
That's not okay. So you tell me that. So all right. So Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, all those players were a fluke in the playoffs. They were a fluke, apparently. That's what you're saying.
I'm not.
You are saying that. You are saying that.
Okay, maybe I am then. Maybe I am saying that.
You are saying that because he's just saying that Pascal Siakam doesn't have a backup.
I'm saying that the team needs Tyrese Halliburton to be successful. That's what I'm saying.
That's a big, drastic change.
I literally said that at the beginning.
I feel that by trading two pieces that were the reasons why you guys made it to the finals and won a championship, Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, and then losing was supposed to be your franchise player, even though he didn't win Eastern Conference MVP and Finals MVP, not having Tatum, you would see that Boston is going to regress. All of a sudden, they're actually stable. And Tatum, in first take, said that I'm not going to discard that I could return this season. So imagine if Boston is actually in a good position in the Eastern Conference, and all of a sudden Tatum makes a miraculous comeback. They actually could be the biggest threat because Cleveland and New York right now are not convincing to be the favorites.
Okay.
Detroit is. Toronto, look, and Miami, look what they've surpassed expectations.
Where does Indiana come into play in this point?
Indiana, what I'm trying to say is they supposed to be in a better situation.
But they were never in a better scenario.
Being almost last in the East.
At the beginning of the season, when we all looked at it, yes, on paper.
And when a Rick Carlisle coach.
Of course. But right now, Joe Mazzulla. But I don't want to disregard Joe Mazzulla either, man. Because Joe Mazzulla, I don't think he's a terrible coach. I think he has questionable play calls sometimes, but he's been learning throughout his time, and he's done very well for himself in his time in Boston. Yes, you have one of the best players in the world in Jason Tatum, and one of the best duos in Jaylen Brown that you can arguably say right now because he's averaging 29 a game solo.
Jaylen Brown could become the second Celtic player since Tatum,
but
averaged 30 in a season.
Not even
Larry Bird. Not even John Havlicek, not even Bill Russell, not even Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, all the greatest. Nobody's ever averaged 30 a season except Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown could become the second.
Of course, okay, but the point is Indiana
because he has to. He literally has to carry the whole team.
Okay, yes, but they don't.
Like
Indiana doesn't have a guy that can do that. But Indiana doesn't have a guy that can do that, like Tyrese Halliburton. So that's why they can't be successful. That's why. Like, I don't want to call them the most.
Siakam is averaging 24. Siakam is averaging 24. Benedict Mathurin
does a lot.
Benedict Mathurin is averaging over 20. He's having his best season of his career.
Okay, good for him. Tyrese Halliburton's not playing. That's why.
So he makes that big of a difference.
Look at the stats. Look at the stats. He makes that much more of a difference. It's not as disappointing as like a team like the Clippers, for example, who tried to get all this old talent and throw it in there and just build a depth, and they couldn't. Indiana from day one, losing Halliburton and losing Miles Turner, that was huge for their season.
I know that was. I know that was big.
But
I
the
know
fact
that
that
was
you're
big.
saying that they have more value than the Boston Celtics right now is why
Of
I'm
course,
asking, like,
that's not wow. That is
how?
true.
How? But how? How is
They
it
made it to the
Ferguson?
finals with so many
And
good pieces.
all those good pieces right now, and what's happening with those good with those main pieces outside of Halliburton and Miles Turner? What's happening right now with those main pieces?
All right, we can say they're malfunctioning.
Okay, they're malfunctioning, but that's because they don't have Halliburton. Halliburton makes such a big difference for that team as a facilitator and as a leader. When you lose your number one guy who can average 25, a triple double a game, you lose a
He doesn't
lot.
have it. He doesn't have a triple
But
double.
he can, and he averages a double double. That's his.
He
That's
was
what he
recognized.
does.
He was recognized because he played superstar status in the playoffs, and he was the clutch
But even
player.
before that, he wasn't at the superstar level, but he was at the all-star level. That was pushing for that free flow offense that Rick Carlisle was just enforcing on them at that point.
All
He's the
right, so
reason why they made it to so many fucking games. Excuse my language, but I can't
all
stand
right,
it
so
because
let's.
Halliburton
All right,
hit so many game winners in those playoff series that everyone just
all right.
disregards and
So
be like, "Oh, the role
let's
players did
let's
it."
end it. Let's end this segment. Before that, in the West, you got the Clippers, right?
Oh, I'm just taking the Clippers overall.
I'm taking the Sacramento Kings.
That's
Brutal,
a really good one. That's a
brutal,
really good one.
brutal.
They fucking
Zach LaVine,
suck.
DeMar
Excuse
DeRozan,
my
Domantas
language again, but
Sabonis,
they are terrible.
brutal. And I'm still not agreeing with them firing Mike Brown. I'm
I
sorry.
agree. I agree with that.
I'm not
I
agreeing
stand
with
on that.
that. And then
It makes no sense.
they signed Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, veterans that are actually looking for their first ring. They got Keegan Murray, they got Malik Monk. Like they got talents. In paper, you see them, and you're like, wow, Sacramento actually can do a lot of noise in the West. Right now, the West has been the most disappointing conference.
Listen, if a team
You
was just trying
would felt like teams from the first to the 12th position could be above 500. And even the teams that finish in the 11, 12 spot are not going to make it even to the play-in. That's how difficult the West was going to be. And it's been actually opposite the East, which was supposed to be more flexible since teams losing their all-star players. Wait, we're having difficult
Hello?
technical difficulties right now.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
All right, so Nick probably is gonna have to sign in again.
Hello?
Can you hear me? All right, so we're gonna have Nick signing again. What I'm trying to say to the public is that sorry, we're trying to get this results. Let's see if Nick can hear me right now. All right, so he's gonna sign out. Sometimes this happens during StreamYard. In the West, it's actually been the most disappointing conference. Clippers, Kings, and at the same time, Mavericks, which I'm actually still giving them the benefit of the doubt. They were supposed to be in a better situation than they are right now. They are terrible. Dallas, let's see how they do tonight against Miami. Big win against Denver. Cooper Flag, right now, let's see if he's getting rhythm. And then Anthony Davis is back.
Sorry, guys. I got a phone call.
Technical
difficulties.
Well, you're good, man. I was actually telling the audience that Western Conference has been the most disappointing because you saw all these teams making a lot of noise during the offseason. Sacramento, the Clippers, Mavericks. I had the Mavericks number one in the West. Even without Kyrie Irving. And those three teams are out of the play-in at the season ended.
Yeah.
And so they gotta literally dismantle the Sacramento King.
Dude, when that Sacramento
King
team was
the Clippers, they should, with the Chris Paul situation, I don't know what are they're heading towards to. And then the Mavericks are the only team I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because I think the Denver win was a big deal. Today they're going against Miami. Let's see how they do. But I still feel like they can turn around this season. Like we've seen teams do it before, both conferences. But in the West, definitely I'm gonna put the Kings. The Warriors are actually heading towards that conversation. When you have teams in the Western Conference,
I love it.
From the first to the 7th position over 500, and then the 8th to the 15th below 500, that's crazy. When you have teams in the East from the first to the 9th position over 500, Chicago is in the 10th, and they were actually 6-1 before all of a sudden jumping off a cliff. Like the East has been the most interesting, surprising, competitive conference this season. I'm gonna take Miami as the most surprising because they didn't have Tyler Hero the majority of the beginning of this season. Norman Powell missed some games. You see Andrew Wiggins also missing games. You see Bam Adebayo missing games. And look how stable they have been because they have the pieces to still produce, contribute offensively, and basically stay balanced, stay stable. They gotta do a little bit better on the defensive side, but I would understand why Collier has Toronto because literally nobody would have thought Toronto would be second in the East.
Oh, of course
but
not.
But at the same time, they stayed healthy. Miami hasn't been healthy, and they are with the Thunders and the Nuggets, two teams that could make it to the finals. The top offensive team in the East.
Yep.
In the West, I'm gonna take Sacramento as being more disappointing. You take Clippers and you take Miami as well. So just to finish the sports show today, let's elaborate as quick as possible. First, Lane Kiffin situation. Because since we were supposed to do a sports show last week, but with all our jobs accumulating at the moment, it was too difficult for either one of us to do a show by ourselves.
It was also a holiday week, and it got really busy.
And we don't like doing that. We at least have minimum 2 or 3, 4 of our crew members being a part of this show.
Yep.
Quick answers, since we got 8 minutes to make the 1 hour topic. Did Lane Kiffin did the right move in leaving Ole Miss to join LSU?
Very quickly, I don't think he did. I mean, for his money, for his pockets, yeah, he made the right move. But overall, as for college football, no, I don't think he made the right move. He was building something really special there at Ole Miss. I think this overall move was just for him to kind of rebuild LSU and just, again, get more money in his pockets. I don't see why anyone would want to do this. I think it is stupid, though, that in college football, that as soon as you make the decision to leave your team at the end of the season, you cannot play with your team and you cannot stay with your team that you've built to go into the playoff. But Lane Kiffin, man, you know, he's had a really rich history in the league, starting with FAU and with Ole Miss, taking both of them into really nice positions, especially FAU. No one expected that. And I'm excited to see what he does with LSU. I don't know if it's the right move, considering that what he's done with Ole Miss already, and has taken them to where Ole Miss right now is at a point where they can beat anybody, and they believe they can beat anybody, and that's really scary to think about. You know, when you have an entire team believing in that. And you're beating teams by a wide margin every week. It's a scary sight to see. Like them, Oregon, Ohio State, all of those, like those main teams. He's built a team up to that level of competition, and you know it doesn't make any sense on why he would want to leave because he's just going to bring in more recruits every year. But again, it's all in the money. That's just how college football is, and it's all about biasy.
It makes.
Sorry, I don't want to say biasy.
It makes more than sense why he left Ole Miss. Come on, man! It's LSU. It's LSU.
But right now,
they haven't won a championship since Ed Oregon in 2019. The season was 2019. Obviously, the national championship was 2020. We already know how to evaluate football, collegiate or professional level type of seasons. So the championship was in 2020. The season's 2019. LSU is a program that they signed Brian Kelly, somebody that couldn't take Notre Dame to the promised land. All of a sudden, we saw Marcus Freeman one game away winning a national championship and the first African American head coach to do it.
Yep.
Brian Kelly couldn't took them there. And all of a sudden, LSU hires them, and he couldn't even make it to the damn playoffs.
Well, Brian Kelly,
and so Lane Kiffin is the first coach to have 3 straight seasons with Ole Miss plus 10 victories a season.
Okay, so right
obviously
now,
they haven't won a championship this season. Maybe it could be a different scenario, but I would definitely go to a program which I can recruit players that would be more interested in playing in LSU than Ole Miss. Ole Miss hasn't won a championship since 1962. Their biggest run, 1955, 1959, 1960, 1962. Those are the 3 championships that they have. They haven't won a title since then. LSU just won it recently. And why? Because they had the best recruiting players there. Do you see who was there? It was Justin Jefferson. It was Ja'Marr Chase. It was Joe Burrow. It was a whole scenario of players that right now are dominating the NFL. And that's exactly what Lane Kiffin can do with high school players being recruited to a program that is much better than Ole Miss. I agree with what he did.
I don't know, man. I think again he was building something special there. You know, a lot of it is just.
I understand that would. I understand that for his legacy, it would have been amazing if he wins.
It's not even just legacy. It's just for the school of Ole Miss. You know, like you said, Ole Miss hasn't won anything since like the '60s, if I'm not mistaken, as you said.
62.
But 62. Ole Miss has been relatively competitive in the SEC every year, and losing Lane Kiffin like this doesn't just mean like oh yeah, like you're losing a great head coach. You're losing recruits too, and it's gotten to a point where Lane Kiffin is so good that he could steal recruits from LSU.
All right. So are we talking about did he did the right move for himself? Yeah, for the school, obviously.
Okay. So for him, yeah, he made the right move to go. But like for the school and like just overall, I mean, I know I'm gonna stick with it. No, I don't think it was the right move, dude. Like he should have stayed. And everyone was super happy with him.
Maybe he should have handled it better after this season, like Jim Harbaugh did, knowing that he was gonna return to Michigan because of all the legal situations and scandal. He won the chip, and then he met with the 49ers. The Chargers, sorry.
Yeah.
And then sign with them. That's a different scenario. I understand that, but
Lane Kiffin and just for the school of Ole Miss losing this, it's Lane Kiffin is so good that he can steal recruits from anyone, and it was going to get to a point this year if LSU didn't get their guy that they were going to lose people because no one wanted to play in that team. No one wanted to play for Brian Kelly in the first place because no one likes Brian Kelly. He's just not a good person and not a good coach. Regardless of what you think he did before with LSU.
All right, so agree to disagree. Last topic. We got 2 minutes. Analysis on the college football playoff bracket if the season ended. Do you agree that Notre Dame should be over UMiami?
Well, listen, man, as a diehard Notre Dame fan, I really feel, I'm just kidding. No, Notre Dame should not be above Miami. Although, when they have when you look at their losses compared to ours, yes, their losses are against higher level teams, but it's all at the end of the day.
Wait, whose losses?
Notre Dame. If you look at Notre Dame's losses compared to Miami's losses.
And Miami's are not top 25 ranked teams.
The thing is, okay. The thing is with this is that the head-to-head games, I guess, just don't matter for college football. It's up for them. It's really just keep Miami out of the college football playoff. It feels like, when you have one of the committee members drop out and you get the guy from Utah, the head athletic director from Utah, come in and step into the committee and just start praising Utah on why they're so good and they should be over Miami. It doesn't exactly feel right, The head director of the committee honestly also was stating that It's about head-to-head matchups. It's about it's a week-by-week basis. They need to be more consistent on the offensive end. They need to put up more points. And when Miami has shown out and has done that, they've always found a way to keep Notre Dame above somehow. Even which, when you want to count Jeremiah Love and their great passing offense, Miami completely shut them down in that game. It starts from it's in the numbers. Miami should be above Notre Dame. And what's the point of having a head-to-head game at the beginning of the season if they're not in? But I understand to an extent on why they left Miami out. But I still feel like
they're not officially out. They're not officially
out.
I
know that. I know they're not officially
out. We gotta see what happens in the conference games this week.
It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right,
Right, so I would like to disagree with you, but I can't. Like, we already know that NCAA right now has been always corrupted. Yeah, I'm gonna say it in this sports show. For many reasons.
Well, not only this, it's been corrupt for years, for decades.
Decades. They obviously they focus on the TV ratings. Understandable, get money on their pocket. But a similar scenario, we saw how they discarded Florida State from the playoffs because Jordan Travis couldn't play, and I know that changes the outcome because they feel like the Florida State Seminoles wasn't going to perform the same level with Jordan Travis. But that's why you have a good backup quarterback, right?
He was not a good backup quarterback.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give a quick example and just finish it up with this. So Alabama played Georgia in a national championship game. Tua didn't see the field until the second half of that national championship game. And he was the reason why they made the comeback and beat Georgia. So you're telling me that everybody all of a sudden woke up and saw Tua that moment and said, "Oh my God, where have you been all this time?"
Bro, you're not going to do this right now. No way. You're not.
Jalen Hurts was the main quarterback. All of a sudden he struggled. They put Tua Tagovailoa. What I'm trying to say, Nick, every college team has to have a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, but every college team doesn't. A lot of college teams don't.
They still have to be prepared for the moment. Tua was prepared for that big moment, and he proved himself why he has to be the starting quarterback for Alabama. And he's the one basically who sent Jalen Hurts out of that door and to sign with Oklahoma. True or false?
No, that's true. That is true.
That's true. So every program that is ranked top 10 or top 5 in the league, Jordan Travis had to have a good backup quarterback.
He wasn't good though. You can't say that. If you literally look at his numbers, if you don't even know his
How do you know his numbers if he didn't even play that season?
Bro, it's not wow. He played, dude. I'm telling you, he played. He was not good.
So you're telling me that
FSU fans, Seminoles fans will tell you that year. They will be like, "Oh yeah, we should have made it 100% without Jordan Travis." But they will refuse to admit until the season after that backup quarterback was dog. He was awful, man. He was not a good quarterback. He would not have been able to last. The NCAA.
So why don't they go to their third string quarterback then instead of their second string?
Why would they go to a third string? He's a third string for a reason, Raul. That's like saying, like Syracuse, for example, like, oh, you lose your starting quarterback, so you have your backup.
Because that's where you have your options. If you have a scholarship in the collegiate level, you have to be a good quarterback. I'm sorry. Don't be underestimating or basically taking credibility from those type of players.
Wow. Dude, that's literally not true. Not every single good ranked team has a good backup quarterback. There's only certain instances like Georgia, for example, where you have Stetson Bennett. You go from Carson Beck to Stetson Bennett in the same year, and then after losing Carson Beck, you get Stetson Bennett, and then you get Gunnar Stockton. Like that. That's like that.
And where's Georgia? Oh, Georgia has always been number one.
There you go. There's one. But where's FSU? FSU the entire year ran with Jordan Travis, and in the small times that their backup would come out on the field, he had such a long last name. I don't even remember it. But his last name, that you'll know it when you see it. But he was not good. He was a freshman, if I'm not mistaken. He was not ready for the moment. So you can't put a guy in there who's not ready for the moment, and he's going to put up terrible numbers. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. So the committee decides what is going to be the best TV ratings. I understand that. I cannot go against that. And what we saw from Florida State sitting all their best players for the Georgia game in the Orange Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, that proof that basically, let's just say that they were a fraud because they get humiliated 63-3.
There you go.
I understand that completely. But at the same time, like, if you have a team that is undefeated, if they work their ass off to be a top 4 in the league, they lose their best quarterback, so now the rest of the team gotta get punished because of that.
Unfortunately, it's just sometimes like that, man. Because sometimes
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So if you Miami that actually won 38-7, their defense has been consistent this season. Their offense produces in this game against a team like Pittsburgh that actually beat a top 25 ranked team the week before, 42-28. And that defense stops them from even allowing more than 10 points.
So you're telling me
and Miami right now, if the players would have started, they are out? How does that make sense?
Raul, if Carson Beck was injured right now and Emory Williams had to come in the game, the committee would be like, yeah, they definitely don't belong. And I would even
But he's not. But he's not.
Okay, but he's not injured. Okay, that's the thing. He's not injured, so I don't understand why they're out, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point I'm trying to make, that I'm trying to argue with you right now, is you're saying that if you're good at a college football team, you have to have a good quarterback no matter who you are. That's what you said. And you were trying to say that FSU was left out, and they shouldn't have been left out regardless of the backup quarterback, because he still would have performed because he didn't play the whole season. And I was saying that he was terrible. He's still playing right now, and he's terrible.
All right, so if this was the NFL, this was a high school type of scenario, they would definitely not left out FSU. They can't.
Wait. If FSU, like, from 2023, is that what we're talking about?
Let's just talk about if this was an NFL scenario.
Okay.
High school scenario. FSU, would they be left out? Because if I'm not mistaken, even a team in the NFL that finishes with more losses than wins,
can't compare it to the NFL.
Division, they make the playoffs. No. But then in the collegiate level, all of a sudden you stay undefeated because of your main quarterback is not going to be available to play. You're out. That's how the mafia works.
That's college football, man. It's corrupt, and we've talked about how corrupt it is. But even then, I'm looking at it right now. Their top games that they played, they beat number 5 LSU at the beginning of the season. They beat Clemson, who was unranked at the end of the year. They beat Miami, who didn't have a good year. Louisville was ranked, but barely ranked. And then they got creamed by Georgia in the Orange Bowl. So, their schedule is just pure ACC and whatever teams that year. And they were already highly ranked as it was because of their defense. And not because of Jordan Travis, because of their defense. Jordan Travis
actually was having a Heisman career.
Wow.
See his stats. Look at his stats. He's actually having a Heisman career that year.
Yeah, 2,756. Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, the rushing numbers are there, but the passing numbers are pretty mediocre in my opinion.
I mean, you've seen some quarterbacks that are more dependable running than passing. It is what it is. That's the
but
generation
that's
we're living
where I'm
right now.
coming in from. So FSU in that scenario. So you're saying, like, oh yeah, they win 11 games, right? They win 11 games and they miss out on the playoffs from the NFL standards. Okay, that doesn't make any sense because they would make it. In these standards for college football, because of how corrupt it is, and because of how they look at the most minute detail about your team for a reason to get you out, Having Jordan Travis out for the playoff is a huge reason on why a team shouldn't be in, regardless of how good that team was. You had Trey Benson, Keon Coleman, and a really nice defense. But who's going to throw them the ball? Tate Rodemaker? You're telling me that Tate Rodemaker, who's throwing 57% percentage on the season, who had 510 passing yards, is going to go in there and win the games like Nick Foles? Someone that did that in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? No, man.
I've said we can hold players accountable, but at the same time, coaches gotta also be in that same category.
Listen, Mike Norvell got lucky that one season. That's all I'm gonna say. Mike Norvell is awful, and I'm grateful he's still with FSU. Thank you.
So,
FSU.
I mean, we can agree that depending on what happens this weekend, we'll talk about it in the next show. Like, Miami should not be out.
No, man. If
for them to be out of the ACC championship game. So, all right. So, if we're talking about ratings, Virginia number 18 against non-ranked Duke. That's a rating. That's an ACC championship game rating.
So at that point, they're doing it based off of the conference schedule.
The conference games. I understand that. Like it's a complicated scenario in the NCAA college football. But come on, man, for them to be out of the ACC championship game and not make the playoffs after that blowout win in Pittsburgh against an explosive offense team, allowing only 7 points, and for Miami to score 38, even with Carson Beck making turnovers.
And something that I really despise is that the committee has really highlighted.
And if Notre Dame doesn't have the tiebreaker,
this
and they make it.
Well, that's what I'm getting to
right now. How is that possible?
So this is what I'm getting to right now with you. That's what I'm getting with you right now that you're going to have the same reaction for. So the committee has highlighted for some reason Notre Dame and Syracuse as one of the main.
Oh, because Notre Dame had a better game against this team.
But mind you, what? Syracuse was running their third-string quarterback who played lacrosse, who was on scholarship from lacrosse. Football's not even his main sport, and they're counting that as a bigger game than when we beat Syracuse, which is insane to think about because of the amount of bias that is there. That is it. I rest my case. Miami should be number 9. It's okay that they're not number 9 because whoever loses, they should push it.
All right. I was gonna say the only thing we're agreeing because when I realized that we agree that Miami has been the most surprising team in the East, in the West, you take the Clippers. I took the Kings. We disagree with the Lane Kiffin. So this is the second time we're agreeing that Miami should be in the playoffs. So let's see the scenario of this weekend. Like definitely deserves, because it would actually be the most disappointing thing we've seen in this decade that a team.
I'm not going to watch college football if they don't make it. I'm not going to watch college football.
A team that had expectations last season to make it not only to the ACC championship game, to the playoffs for a second year, not be a part of both. In this case, I cannot blame Miami. Last year, their defense was mediocre.
Oh, no, their defense was trash. No,
this year, they've had to actually rely on their defense. Top 5.
Their defense is so good. They have top 2 pass rushers in the
that NFL could actually be their first picks in the next NFL draft pick.
Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, bro.
He actually could be the first pick.
And you're telling me that's the and Malachi Toney, by the way, who just won
Malachi Toney. Woof, he's been balling. And we also got to give credit to Mark Fletcher Jr.
But again,
as a running back,
it's all biasy against Miami, and I don't want to be that guy and just say it's biasy. But everyone, the national media knows the narrative, and no one. It's insane. It's insane, bro. If you cannot look at this and say that they just don't want Miami in there, then I don't know what world you're living on. You're probably living on the world of a Notre Dame fan.
Miami creates ratings everywhere, even when they're bad. Even when they're bad. No matter what it is.
Oh, when they're bad, I don't know about that. When they're bad, they're bad, bro. I don't want to talk about those golden years.
They're one of the best, if not the best city in the whole United States. So, like, we can debate against New York, Los Angeles, and all of that.
I'll debate New York anyway.
I'll agree to it. New York is beautiful. It's probably the best city. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh no, I put Miami over New York. Sorry.
It's just that New York. It's cold this time of
What beaches they got over there? What beaches they got?
Yeah, of course. I
They don't got no
mean,
South Beach. I don't see no South Beach. No clear waters over there. I see
Los
rocks over
Angeles,
there.
Los Angeles is actually neutral. It's like half and half sometimes during the year. Miami, it has its moments, but not consistently and now mostly throughout the year.
I'll take that.
We can allow the fans argue about that, but we have another show coming next week. Since let's see what happens this weekend with the conference championships. We'll see what continues to happen in the Eastern and Western Conference in the NBA, also in the NHL, college basketball, male and female. We got a lot to talk about that since this is the season when we've seen around more than 20 sons of ex legend NBA players participating.
Yep.
There's
And
a
very
lot of
quickly,
them. There's a lot of them that are balling, other they're not getting that much minutes. But we got a lot to elaborate in the next upcoming weeks before the year ends. So, Nick, I'll see you next week. Hopefully, we got Colia or Anthony coming back, so we don't got to fight each other. Mostly, we're in the same side, but
yeah,
it is what it is. This is a
argue a little
debate
bit, but
sports
not to their
show.
extent.
Yeah, exactly. We don't go overboard. So, have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you
See
next
you guys.
week.
Let's go Inter Miami.
This Saturday against Vancouver, this could actually seal.
There you go. Not the
This could
end
actually
yet.
seal Lionel Messi. I mean, I already said that he was the GOAT after Argentina won the last World Cup and the last tournaments. But this actually can just like finalize the
Messi
deal.
and Muller, baby.
Who
And
is
you don't want to look at
who's the
Muller's record
better,
against
him
Messi.
or Cristiano Ronaldo? If he gets this cup, I mean, he just made it the finals. I feel like that's already a sealed deal. But maybe this will officially clinch it.
We'll see.
It will officially stable it. So, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you for watching our show. We got a lot to bring to you guys in the nearest future.